Here's a couple things that have been bouncing around in my head for a little while that I can't quite get them to resolve or to chill. The first one has to do with this obsession that keeps building inside of me about coming up with a way that you can sell someone something for $1. Why $1? I think that $1 is about as cheap as you can sell something to anyone, and I also think it's symbolic in some ways. To expand on that a little bit, or to take it one layer further, the idea of getting someone to pledge to you $1 per month has also really gotten my attention. I sit around watching I don't do this all the time, but I've been on a little bit of an Alex Hormozi kick lately, and I don't recommend spending much time watching this guy. In fact, the more I learn about him and the more I watch, the less I appreciate what's being said. I do think that starting a business and making money is super important, but I don't know how actually successful this guy is in terms of what he reports he's done and accomplished. I also don't know how comfortable I am with his marketing tactics. He's big on these tactics, right? And calling them tactics is kind of a nice way of saying tricking people into doing something that they may be on the fence about. And I understand this is a cutthroat world. We have to get money. So the pressure is on and the stakes are high. But what's your opinion on this? Would you rather be super rich and potentially be serving a ton of happy clients, maybe the perfect client for you, but also simultaneously leaving a wake of dismay and dissatisfaction for a certain percentage of those clients, people who decided to put their faith in you, who believed in what you promised them? Would you rather be super rich and have, I don't know, maybe half those people love you, half those people hate you? Or would you rather be moderately successful and basically everyone who has done business with you loves you? Which would you pick and why? I think that Alex Hormozi is a bad guy, which is probably one of the most unpopular things that a person can say. I think he got to where he is for the wrong reasons. I think he was in the right place at the right time when there was a major arbitrage in terms of how much ads cost temporarily. I think it was specifically Facebook ads, and how that was able to be exploited at such a scale that it forced people to sign up for gym memberships in bulk, in mass. Okay? And I think he rode that wave for as long as he could and then shut the whole thing down or sold it or whatever, because it was never an actual real sustainable business model where people were getting value in exchange for a reasonable price. Everything about the gym business model is off, okay? First of all, and he'll even tell you this in his videos, that part of the pretense of running a gym is manipulating people into signing up, but then ultimately understanding that most of them, and I'm talking like most of them, won't even show up to do the workout. Now, they did sign up. They are paying a monthly fee. It's like baked into the business model that, like, you know, you have a gym. It has a certain capacity there. Let's say that 100 people could be working out at the gym at any given time. Well, the goal is not to sign up 100 people. The goal is to sign up like 1,000 people, because you know 90% or more aren't going to show up. Now, is it a creative way to arbitrage and get money from someone's pocket into yours? Yeah, it's successful in that sense. But I don't think I could do that. I don't know if I could do that. And I think there's a reason why he doesn't do it anymore. One of the reasons he doesn't do it anymore is because it's so much more, it became so much, because think about it, this is what he did. He transitioned from that world to what? What did he transition to? He transitioned to scaling the idea of training other people to do that. Okay, so I don't want to call it scamming. Like, the people he trained to launch their own gym businesses, he was teaching them the same principles, right? The same principles. It's like, market the hell out of it, get a bunch of people to sign up, understand that most of these people are only doing it because you kind of twisted their arm in the moment, guilt trip them into doing it, and then they don't show up, and there you go. You only got X number of people inside the facility, and then the rest of them are paying you, but they're sitting at their house eating ice cream. So he transitioned into that business model. But even that, he evolved past, right? He eventually gave that up as well. I think he says he sold that business, right? And now he's going to layer higher, which is like, hey, we're just going to straight up buy businesses, acquisition.com or whatever. So I haven't done enough research on the guy to cancel him. I watched it. You know what I found interesting about Alex Hormozi? Or just a bunch of these gurus that I've been researching lately, okay? I think there's a very interesting strategy. You know how people like Gary Vee talk about make content, just make tons and tons of content. He says, like, I put 50 pieces of content out every day. And I think he does. And that's a lot of content, right? Now it's probably like the same clips across different platforms or repurposed, or, he's got a team of people releasing content, 50 pieces of content every day, right? One thought I had about this is that there's an interesting side effect of releasing so much of your own personal brand's content every day. And that is, go on YouTube when you get a chance and see if you can find Gary Vee hit pieces or Alex Hormozi hit pieces. It's very difficult. Now, they are out there. But by the very nature of just typing the name into the search engine, you will get hit with a slew, an absolute maelstrom of their clips. And it's an incredibly effective way to keep people from watching the hit pieces. So I thought that was very interesting. Not saying that there aren't other reasons to sit there and release 50 pieces of content a day. I don't know if I like this as a strategy. I understand it's probably a very strategic, effective way to just like continuously show up in people's purview by more or less taking advantage of organic content and the release infrastructure and how it is. If there's nothing stopping you from releasing 50 pieces of content a day, you might as well. You're maximizing your organic reach. It becomes, you're putting so much stuff out. It's not paid advertisement. It's organic. The platforms let you do it. So you're just like capitalizing as hard as you can on taking as many shots as possible at getting the chance to show up in front of people, right? Building your brand, putting stuff you're up to out there in people's faces. It is spamming. It is spamming. I would call it spamming. 50 pieces of content a day. You're spamming these algorithms. You are. So I think like most people, Alex Hormozi, you kind of think he's cool, right? He's very sensible. He's talking about these business concepts. He's talking about business. You want to hear some guy talk about business? I think he's got good tips. If you're running a restaurant, if you're running a marketing firm, he's got tips. Okay, and the tips are good. The tips are fine. It's very hard on the surface to look at what he's saying on his videos and be like, I'm upset with this. This feels wrong. This feels off. I do think he makes more money from his book and even just the ad revenue of that brand as a whole, of being the guy that shows up on YouTube and all these platforms and gets that viewership and exposure. And here's what I think of Alex Hormozi, okay? I think his brand is not actually teaching people how to 10x their business or their income and all this stuff, right? Even though that is how it's packaged, right? I think his brand and what he makes most of his money on is the idea that you can put on one of his videos, watch it for an hour and a half or whatever, hear what he has to say, resonate with it, and then feel like you did something productive. And it's like, it doesn't mean you actually learned anything. It feels like you learned something. It reinforces the idea that you're a business-minded person who's ambitious and wants to grow whatever your particular project is, and making money with your business, growing your business, scaling your business, all this stuff. Yeah, it does all that. It scratches an itch in the mind. It's like people want to feel like they're making progress on things, even if they're not, because it's like an ego thing. It's like, my business is doing okay. I'm breaking even. I can sit there for an hour and a half. I'm not watching TikTok. I'm not brain rotting, right? But it's like it's stealth productivity. It's stealth productivity, right? It's like, please don't disturb me. I'm watching the latest Alex Hormozi video. This is important for me to develop and reach the next level in my entrepreneurial venture. But, and yes, I'm being super cynical, but I don't think I like him anymore. think that the nose strip looks stupid. I don't like it as I understand it's like, oh, you have a brand, you have a certain look. The nose strip thing, it looks stupid. I don't know why it says 1/0. Is he like, I'm the one out of zero? I'm so like, is that what it means? It's like unique. I don't like bodybuilding. I think that bodybuilding as a brand, I think that bodybuilding is not as healthy as people think that you're putting a lot of stress and trauma on your body for the sake of vanity. That doesn't mean I don't think it should be healthy or, you know, look good or have some strength and integrity and flexibility as a human being in terms of your physical vessel. But I just don't think, I think it's just stupid to build up a bunch of muscles as a way to earn people's respect. Hey, I'm so disciplined. I work out so much. I think that's a huge chunk of time. He talks so much about I'm working 16-hour days. You have to put a lot of time. He's stuck with that decision, by the way. Once you make that decision that your brand is big muscle guy, who's also like a business expert, that takes a lot of time. He can't stop working out. He's stuck. He's stuck in a hellish nightmare of never being able to stop working out. So now it's great for his earning potential. It's great for his image, but you can't stop. It's a prison. It's a prison to make that kind of decision. All right. So I feel sorry for him in that sense. There's way worse guys out there. I don't want to beat up too much on Alex Hormozi, but there's way worse guys, but I don't like him. I don't like him. Let's transition over to talking about Gary Vee. So Gary Vee, I watch a lot of his stuff, right? Because I always want to see what he's up to, okay? The thing I don't like about Gary Vee is he says how into positivity. He's like, hey man, we don't have time for negativity. We have to be positive. We have to keep the vibes high. I'm here to hire the black sheep or the person who doesn't have the best resume but has the most the best vibes in terms of their scrappiness. Yeah, I mean maybe all that stuff's true. I'm not sure, but he's basically like QVC mode. Like he's doing QVC. He's like, hey, social shopping. This is like the number one arbitrage option in the world right now. He's probably right about that. Okay. I think he's mean. I think he's a mean guy who yells at people and who tears people down in the name of tough love. Like it's like, hey, this isn't me being negative. This is me giving you the raw truth about what you need to hear so that you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps and work harder. I think like Alex Hormozi and like people like Dave Ramsey, they do talk about things like leveraged concepts, right? But I don't know if there's ever a point where you're using enough leverage strategy where it's ever appropriate to work less than 16 hours a day and not beat yourself up for not doing that if you're not doing that. So Gary Vee, Alex Hormozi, they're hustle guys, right? Same thing with people like Dave Ramsey, who's, again, he's like a finance guy, but falls in the same category. And by the way, like Ramsey and Hormozi, they vibe hard together. They vibe hard. They're spiritual brothers in many ways. But it's like there's no problem or situation that you can't grind set your way out of. But at the same time, don't feel good about sitting there and working on something for 16 hours, because if you weren't working on the right thing for 16 hours, well, then you're basically an idiot. You're doing the wrong thing. You haven't been educated with the right approach. So you don't even get credit for working 16 hours on something you shouldn't have been spending all that time on. So, Gary Vee, you can't satisfy Gary Vee with the number of pieces of content you put out in a day. You can't. If you're not putting out at least 50 pieces of content every day, then you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You're not taking advantage of this free marketing potentiality. You're just not. So these kinds of perspectives keep people feeling inadequate and unable to... There's never a point where you're doing enough in the day. And even if you are doing enough in the day and following all their advice, you could be working on the wrong thing. Therefore, it's kind of a form of gaslighting, right? It's like, do more. No matter what happens, you have to keep doing more, keep grinding yourself to dust. And you don't take any days off. You don't take any vacations. Your systems aren't leveraged enough, and you're not working enough, and you haven't cut enough people out of your life. So this is why I don't like those guys anymore. Let's talk a little bit about VeeFriends. I don't think VeeFriends is cool. That's my biggest issue with it. And I think it's a cheap product. I think it's a bad idea that's turned into something way bigger than it ever should have became because of the manipulation of the Gary Vee brand, who's putting out 50 pieces of content every day. So it's being inflated. Like, people don't like VeeFriends because VeeFriends is cool, because VeeFriends is not cool, right? It's the opposite of cool. It's lame. But they like Gary, and they find him entertaining and inspirational. Therefore, they believe in VeeFriends. And it is a buy the dip NFT scheme. And I'm not saying it's a bad one, because, like, if you're going to be buying NFTs, better to wait for the whole system to bottom out and dip so low, which is kind of where we're at now. So you probably can buy VeeFriends stuff and make some money down the road, especially if he's serious about, like, never giving up on this thing. So big promises, but it all hinges on the whole thing working out long term. I think VeeFriends is stupid. I think the art is crappy. I think the names of the characters is lame, right? And he's like, hey, this is all about inspiring children for the next generation. That's a great story. That's a story that convinces parents to buy a lame product for their kids and get them interested in something that sucks, unfortunately. Your kids should just be... there's no way it's going to be the next Pokemon, the next Marvel, the next Disney. There's no way. It's babyish, right? It's like Coco Melon. If somebody took Coco Melon and made it into and let's also point out that these products, Pokemon, the entire card purchasing industry, this is all stuff that hinges on gambling. It's gambling for children. It's basically gambling for children. So I don't know if it's worth it, Gary, teaching children the addictive nature of gambling at the youngest possible age. I think that's... It may not be... it's certainly not illegal, but it's, you're taking advantage of a mechanism in the mind of children that is... I don't know if I would never do something like that. I would never teach children the fulfillment and desperation of gambling and just wanting your next hit off of the next opened pack. So I don't like Gary Vee. I think I did like him for a little while. I don't like him anymore. I don't like Alex Hormozi anymore. I think, we need some real heroes. So I decided I'm going to find us some heroes. I have a couple candidates who I feel are, like, so much better than these two guys, and who are saying things that it's like they're saying things that, like, they're not saying the things that people want to hear, but then you hear them say it and it's like, oh wow, actually they're completely correct. Like, they're not promising the world. They're kind of saying almost everything's like the opposite of what people like Gary Vee and Alex Hormozi say. So I'll get back with a follow-up and let you guys know who who the real heroes are. And I think you should stop watching these guys. I think you should specifically not watch Alex Hormozi or Gary Vee anymore. We'll leave it at that for now. Join the $1 YouTube membership, okay? It's a start. It's a start.